Kobe Bryant did not die because of the wind and the rain and the clouds. So I'm going to tie this into from COVID-19, China, the Vatican, to Kobe Bryant later on. Let's start with the Bout Secret Society. These 9 Black Secret Society members, which consist of 9 Black families today, they are the caretakers of the order. They don't own the order. They are the guardians of the order. 40% of the gross domestic product in this country depends on drugs. So if our government would stop the drug trade, the economy of the United States will fall. It simply means that the deep state is going to use the Bout to dissolve the population through COVID-19 in order to make space for the blood of the elite. We have been sold a lie for the past, I would say, 500 years as we're beginning to unpack the greatest global cover-up in human history.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Edge of Wonder. Today with us we have Bishop Larry Gaiters, who, if any of y'all have been on YouTube recently, have been following the death of Kobe Bryant, you probably have heard of Bishop Larry Gaiters. He is the host and moderator of Global Spiritual Revolution Radio, which airs through national and international syndication every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. and through the iHeart Radio Network and the iHeart Media Group in New York City. And Larry, thank you so much for being with us. Welcome to the show.
Brother Rob and Brother Ben, and to your staff there at the powerful Edge of Wonder show, I am so very honored and very privileged by God to be given the opportunity to grace your show and to share with your audience, your family of listeners all over the world concerning the topic that we're going to begin to unpack today concerning the greatest global cover-up in human history.
Well, I was just going to say, I was watching your some of what you're saying on the Sam Tripoli show, the Tinfoil Hat podcast, and
yes.
Man, my mind was just completely blown. I mean, I couldn't even believe I didn't know my own history, especially with the Black community. And when you were talking about Greenwood, Oklahoma, and I was like, how do I not know this? Like, this is not stuff that we're just taught in school. So, oh my God, I've really been looking forward to this interview and just talking to you. And it's just phenomenal, the stuff that you know. And yeah, this is going to be a great interview. People are really going to love this. I know it.
Well, thank you so much, Brother Ben, for those kind words from you and Brother Rob. Knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong. And so today, it's going to be a powerful and a prolific teaching concerning not just Kobe Bryant, but the average African American in this country. They have no idea concerning their history, because we're the only group of people on the planet who don't know who we are. We know what we are, but we don't know who we are. So we're going to begin to unpack this, and I will begin this right now. Let's start with the Bout Secret Society. Now, the Bout Secret Society, which was funded in 1904 on the 15th of May through the Rockefeller Foundation, through John D. Rockefeller. He had chosen 9 specific African-American men, beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Minton, including Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, as we begin to lay this schematical foundation concerning the greatest global cover-up in human history. Now, Dr. Du Bois is so revered in the annals of Black history education. But in actuality, gentlemen, to understand what's going on today, we have to lay a foundation of background in order for you and I to understand what's going on today in the foreground. So Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was actually a sellout, as we say in the African American community. He was a eugenicist, okay? Now, you know the woman by the name of Valerie Jarrett, right? And she's also a part of the Boule Secret Society. She's very close to the Obamas, okay, to Barack and Michelle Obama. And,
thank you for saying that.
Exactly. So then, Valerie Jarrett's father, Dr. James E. Bowman, is a 33rd degree Mason, okay? And as a side note, no person of color can ever become a 33rd and 1/2 degree Mason. They can only go to the 33rd division through the Freemasonic order. So the father of Valerie Jarrett was a eugenicist by the name of Dr. James E. Bowman, okay, who went to the University of London Galton School of Eugenics, okay. But getting back to the Boule Secret Society, 9 African-American men created this secret society on the 15th of May in 1904 with money going through John D. Rockefeller in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is the hometown of Kobe Bean Bryant. It's all connected to the life and to the assassination of Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant did not die because of the wind and the rain and the clouds. So I'm going to tie this into from COVID-19, China, the Vatican, to Kobe Bryant later on, as we're beginning to unpack this powerful teaching entitled The Greatest Global Cover-Up in Human History. But Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was a part of what we call the Divine Nine. These 9 Black secret society members, which consists of 9 Black families today. Now, there's a 1954 book, gentlemen, entitled The Secret of Sigma Pi Phi. Again, The Secret of Sigma Pi Phi. It is written by Dr. Charles H. Wesley, who is also a 33rd degree Mason. Every Black secret society member within the Boules are Prince Hall Masons. Now, Prince Hall, going back as early as the late 17, early 1800s, was a man from Barbados, but moved to Boston, Massachusetts in the 1800s, and he was forbidden to join the Skulls and Bones Secret Society of Yale University. So this character, Prince Hall, created the very first Black secret society, Freemasonic order, in the 1800s in the city and state of Boston, Massachusetts, okay? So it's very interesting as we talk about the Boule Secret Society. Now, the term Boule, gentlemen, it simply means gatekeeper. They are the caretakers of the order. They don't own the order. They are the guardians of the order. They don't own the round table concerning the Knights of the Round Table. Now, I know you guys heard of the story of the Knights of the Round Table, but in this 1954 book by Dr. Charles H. Wesley, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, he makes mention of 9 knights of this global Luciferian round table through whom the Boule Secret Society would protect these families. We're talking about the Rothschild dynasty. We're talking about the Oppenheimers, right? The Warburgs, who created the American Federal Reserve System, which now a great president has taken over, okay? The Rockefellers, the John Jacob Astor dynasty, the Bilderbergs, the Habsburgs. The 8th family is the Sassoon family. Now, it's interesting about the Sassoon family. They were the first family on earth to create the global drug trade, which they do to this very day, present day, in the Golden Triangle of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, okay, South Vietnam, South Korea. throughout the Golden Triangle. So then, the Sassoon family controls over half of the global drug trade in this world. And as a quick side note, as we're talking about the greatest global cover-up in human history, 40% of the American GDP, or gross domestic product, depends, gentlemen, upon the legal and the illegal drug trade. Let me say this again, 40% of the gross domestic product in this country depends on drugs. So if our government would stop the drug trade, the economy of the United States would fall, as we're unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history.
Wow.
Now, the boulets, the term boule is a Greek Hellenistical term signifying the protectors of the order. There's a term that we use in the Black community. It is called the crab barrel. So this crab barrel represents a global system of those Black men and women of color, what we call the African diaspora. As a side note, I keep telling Black people, stop calling yourself African American. A lot of them look at me like I've lost my mind. Well, the term Africa was not the original name of the continent. That name came from a Roman soldier, Scipio Africanus, who had defeated Hannibal in 202 BC during the Second Punic War in Carthage, which is present-day Libya, and changed the name of the continent from Akibulon, which means Eden, to Africanus, which is Africa today. We have been sold a lie for the past, I would say, 500 years, as we're beginning to unpack the greatest global cover-up in human history. So the term boule simply means the lower house of the Greek parliament today. They were chosen as far as going back to the days of Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. So every Black person of renown, whether it's Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Eric Holder, LeBron James, who has that boule tattooed on his chest. Check it out on Google Images. These Black men and women, Oprah Winfrey, she's a witch, her girlfriend, Gail Stale King, who was trashing the legacy of Kobe Bryant in an interview back about 6 to 8 weeks ago. These people don't protect Black America. They don't protect you and I as Americans, regardless of our race, creed, and color or ethnicity. They are chosen by the global Luciferian elite of these 9 families. Between the Rothschilds, in the 9th family is the Lee family out of Hong Kong, capital L-I, which simply means that COVID-19 is not called that because it came out last year. COVID-19 represents the 19th strand or pathogen within the severe acute respiratory family. I'll come back to that later on. So these 9 families choose 9 Black men, Dr. Henry McKee Menton, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who had sold out Black America going back to the late 1920s, in 1929.
Okay, hold on. Once before we can continue on, I think a lot of like people who just are hearing this kind of information for the first time might be sitting there thinking to themselves, but wait a minute, whoa, you're mentioning all these famous Black people. Why would these Black, people who are supposed to be looked at as kind of icons and leaders in their own Black community, why would they sell out their own race, and how would this kind of come about?
Excellent question, Brother Ben. As we're beginning to unpack the greatest global cover-up in human history by first laying this foundation, the Black, what I call the Black bourgeoisie element in this country. The term bourgeoisie means the Black nobility of Black America, where they are forced to sell out their own people. Well, take for instance, there is a political scientist by the name of Dr. Andrew Hacker. He said in his book, Two Nations, Black and White, Separate, Hostile, Unequal. He says in a snippet of his book in chapter 3, we have a black middle class, but it only exists at the sufferance or the mercy from white America. We decide of you will be allowed into which positions, and how many of you is too many. We pick Cosby, we pick Powell, we do that, and we are careful about the numbers, end quote. So to answer your question, Brother Ben, they are forced to cut away from the masses of Black America because they're so afraid that if they even attempt to think about pulling the other crabs out, the crab barrel masters, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, Warburgs, okay, those of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome, the Committee of 300, the Hidden Hand, even the Jesuit Secret Society. If Black people will begin to rebel, they will simply put us back at the bottom of the barrel. Now, the average person is thinking, wait a minute now, how can Black people deny their own people or any people? Because they're so afraid, Brother Ben, to even buck against the system. This is what happened to Kobe Bryant, and I will bring him up later on during the teaching. So then, the Boule Secret Society, its original logo goes back during the days of Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. It was a half a man, half a woman, half a lion, which represents the transgender sexual disorientation of the Luciferian deep state through the Boule. And the Boule Secret Society is the twin brother of the Skulls and Bones. Allow me to say that again. The Boule Secret Society, they are the twin brothers of the Luciferian Baphomet system. And as a quick side note, the term solve coagulation is on both of the arms of Baphomet. Solve, capital S-O-L-V-E-E-T, coagula or coagulation. Those terms are also on the arm of the writer J.K. Rowling. I'm telling you, look it up on Google Images. She has that Baphomet code imprinted on her arm. Okay, J.K. Rowling of the Harry Potter series. Solve e coagula or coagulation. It simply means that the deep state is going to use the Boule to dissolve the population in order to make space for the blood of the elite. So solve e coagulation means to dissolve a certain populace depopulation through the IMF, through the World Bank, through the UN Agenda 2030, all backed by the financial backing of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Event 201, Crimson Contagion, and the George Soros Open Society Foundation. So then J.K. Rowling has that code imprinted on her arm. Now, getting back to the Boule Secret Society, you have 9 Black Greek letter secret societies. Each secret society was created not by Black Americans, but by the Rockefeller Foundation in 1904 in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that is also the hometown of a Black female secret society, the Jack and Jill Club. I'll bring them up later on in the broadcast. Now, here are the 9 Black Greek letter secret societies. And anytime you guys want to jump in, let me know. Alpha Phi Alpha, they protect the Rothschilds. Kappa Alpha Psi, they protect the Oppenheimers. Omega Psi Phi, they protect the Warburgs, the financial system of the Fed. The Phi Beta Sigma system or fraternity protects the Rockefellers. The Lambda Phi Theta, they protect the Astor dynasty. Alpha Kappa Alpha, they protect the Bilderbergs. Delta Sigma Theta protects the Habsburgs. Zeta Phi Beta protects the Sassoon drug trade. And last but never least, Sigma Gamma Rho, they protect the Lee dynasty. Wait a minute now. So 70 to 80% of black lawyers in this country are a part of the Boule Secret Society. 80% of black doctors are lawyers, okay? 80% of dentists are a part of the Boule Secret Society. 75% of teachers, okay, professors, okay, and psychologists in the field of clinical psychology are a part of the Boule Secret Society. Why? Because they're chosen to protect the system that has the world in spiritual and financial enslavement. Okay.
Larry, can I just ask you a couple of questions based
Absolutely.
off of what you just said? So, okay, there's a few things. One is you keep mentioning the name Sassoon. Now, I'm wondering if this has any relationship to the Sassoon and the fashion or the
Vidal Sassoon, yes.
Vidal Sassoon. That's the case, correct?
He is a direct descendant or a progenitor of the Sassoon dynasty, who are one of the most powerful Khazarian families on earth, who still control India today. So the Sassoon family controlled, through the Jardine Matheson shipping company, both opium wars between 1839 to 1860. So the Sassoon family, they're the ones who are backing the global cocaine trade, who are backing the poppy trade out of Afghanistan. That's why we're in the Middle East. It has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. This is a crack cocaine war, just like Vietnam during the 1960s. So the Sassoon family with Vidal Sassoon, if you don't look good, we don't look good. That man is a direct descendant of the Sassoon family, the 9th Luciferian member of the Round Table. So this Boule Secret Society, the men are called archons, capital ARCHONS, which is a Latin lexicon word meaning demon. The women are called archies, okay? They are female demons or demoness. Well, the Attorney General of the state of Illinois, Kim Foxx, who allowed that demon to get off, okay? She is a Bouleist, okay? I kid you not. So Kim Foxx, look her up. She was the one that dropped the cases, okay? The case against that actor, okay? I can't remember his name right now.
Jesse Smollett?
Yes, Jesse Smollett.
Or Juicy Smollett is what we say.
So Jesse Smollett. Well, Kim Foxx is not only a Boule, she's a 33rd degree Prince Hall Mason as a part of the Chicago, Illinois chapter of Prince Hall, of the Prince Hall Masonic Order. She is related to Barack Obama, and she's also related to Kamala Harris. Okay, so they got him off with the financial backing of George Soros. Again, George Soros doesn't care about black people. This is all a part of control and enslavement. And as a quick side note, I keep telling black people, stop calling yourself not just African, but the term Negro. Okay, I brought this up on San Tripoli show some time ago. Well, the term Negro, as we're beginning to unpack this powerful importation today, the greatest global cover-up in human history.
He's revered as one of the greatest presidents of our time, who made decisions that could even change our future. But has anyone stopped and thought about it a little more, about what led to Obama being where he is now? Did anyone question his history before? Where was he really born? What about his parents and close friends? Were they also telling the truth about this the whole time? Or hiding a much darker secret from the world? New evidence has come up that is making people question our previous administration in ways you wouldn't expect. Get ready as we dig deeper into the rabbit hole, into the truth of Barack Hussein Obama. Obamagate Part 2, only on edgeofwonder.tv.
The term Negro comes from the Greek word necro, capital NECRO, which means autopsy of flesh or having sex with a dead body. This is where we get the term necromancy, okay? And that's why the Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, okay? I keep telling people, do you understand that every time you call the N-word or the term Negro, you are invoking the psyop of necromancy, which means an individual having sex with a corpse. That's what the word N means. Again, you're dealing with a generation of unawakened people. My responsibility here tonight is to red pill the red pillars. It is to awaken the unawakened, as we're talking about the Boule Secret Society. So these 9 black families. Now, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is a very interesting character. Never went to college or university. Now, remember in 2003, he got involved in this so-called rape case. And I say so-called because he was set up. He was instructed by the late Dr. Jerry Buss, the former owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, to travel to Eagle, Colorado to get his knee worked on. So he goes to Edwards, Colorado, okay? And he is instructed to see a doctor by the name of Dr. Richard Stedman, okay? Now, Dr. Richard Stedman is Phi Beta Kappa. Now, who is Phi Beta Kappa? Phi Beta Kappa is the legal in the educational arm of the deep state, while Kappa Beta 5 is the Wall Street faction of the deep state. We're going to get to Kobe Bryant's business partner, Jeffrey Morgan Steibel, who looks like Charles Manson here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So then, Kobe Bryant is a part of not only the Theosophical Secret Society, in the Thelema Secret Society, Aleister Crowley, but also Kobe Bryant is a member of the Boule Secret Society. Now, to be initiated into the Boule Secret Society, 2 men or 2 women have to have sex with each other inside of a coffin. I kid you not. This is the sexual initiation rite to get into the Boule Secret Society.
An actual coffin.
The actual coffin. They got that right, or that consecrational dark rite, from the Skulls and Bones, okay? Now, the Skulls and Bones was created by Alfonso Taft. So then, to actually have homosexuality sex or lesbian sex in order to be initiated into the order. Now, it's going to be a lot of black people who's going to write you, oh, I don't believe this, what Bishop is teaching.
Right, right.
You're dealing with a generation of psychologically dead people, okay? They know what they are, but they don't know who they are. As we're talking about, not just the Boule Secret Society, but the greatest global cover-up in human history. So then Kobe Bryant is accused of rape. Okay, now his knee doctor, Dr. Richard Stedman, is a part of this secret society, Phi Beta Kappa. He instructs him not to stay near the doctor's office, all right, where he's going to get his knee worked on. Dr. Stedman instructs Kobe to go miles away in Edwards, Colorado. Instead of staying in Eagle, Colorado, Dr. Richard Stedman, Phi Beta Kappa, instructs Kobe to go to Edwards, Colorado. It doesn't make any sense. He's in Eagle, Colorado, but he's instructed specifically to go to Edwards, Colorado. Why? To go to this Cordelia Spa hotel, a high-class hotel. Now, the girl that he meets is a woman by the name of Caitlin Faber. Her parents are Phi Beta Kappa. They know Dr. Richard Stedman. Kobe doesn't know this, okay? She is offering her services to Kobe Bryant in the form of a tour of the hotel. That's not her responsibility. Then one thing leads to another. Kobe invites her to the room. Then she doesn't go home that night, Caitlin Faber. She goes to her boyfriend's house and have sex. But the next morning she goes home and cries rape. Wait a minute, I'm confused now. See, the Boule Secret Society, if you get out of line, they can set you up. I'm talking about the Luciferian Round Table, okay? The crab barrel masters. Those masters who own the table and own the crab barrel. So they were forcing Kobe Bryant down socially, economically into this crab barrel by setting him up. Now, mind you, if Kobe raped this girl, he should have went to prison. I have no problem with that. So then the parents of Caitlin Faber, or Phi Beta Kappa, and the parents of Caitlin Faber go to the same Masonic temple in Denver, Colorado that Dr. Richard Stedman goes to. That's interesting. Guess who the attorney was for Kobe Bryant during this mess? Is a woman by the name of Pamela Mackey. Pamela Mackey is the attorney for Harvey Weinstein.
Oh,
what the heck?
Pamela Mackey, who's also Phi Beta Kappa, is the attorney for Harvey Weinstein, and he's going to end up dead like Jeffrey Epstein because he knows too much. Oh, so let's begin to unlayer, to unpack this through a detailed and meticulous way, through great articulation, as we're talking about the greatest global cover-up in human history. Go ahead, brother.
Larry, yeah, just one thing is I just want to get this in before I forget, because I feel like, okay, so you mentioned a couple of things earlier. You mentioned a half man, half woman, and half lion, and the coffins, okay? And from my research, I found that this half lion, half man always relates to the Zoroastrian religion, and it's a very, very, very ancient. Is that what we have here? Is it this ancient a religion that's kind of being brought in here to these societies?
That's what it is. It's a combination of what I call Zoroastrianism, which is kind of the Caribbean articulation of what you're talking about. I think it's more indebted specifically into the religions of Santeria. And as a side note, Kobe Bryant's wife, her family are worshippers of Santeria. I'll come back to that in the next 30 minutes. So this half lion, half woman beast, this hybrid beast, represents a multiplicity of Mayan religions, Aztec religions, okay, Babylonian Hermetical religions, okay, which is all integrated into this hybrid of the logo of the original Greek, Black Greek Letter Seeker Society. The original logo goes back during the time of Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. I'm glad that you brought that up, Brother Rob, because the original logo has the paw, okay? And this is powerful here, has its left paw on what we call a skull, okay? That represents cognition, the cognition thinking of a future people who don't know who they are. And as a quick side note before we get back to that Boule logo, half of the sales of the Nike Corporation come from the psyop of a people who don't know who they are. In other words, let me break this down in more simpler terms. Half of the gross domestic product of the Nike athletic tennis shoe sales and clothing sales come from Black people. Why is that? Because Nike targets the low self-esteem of a people who would rather concentrate their identity on an Air Jordan than to God. Why? Because they hate themselves. I'm not talking about every Black person, but the majority, a great percentage of African Americans don't know who they are, Brother Rob and Brother Ben. They only know what they are by a title. They don't know who they are. Now, getting back to that Boule Secret Society.
Actually, Larry, right before we get into that, I kind of want to take a step back real quick. And I mean, this is just, I think for a lot of people out there, this is the first time they're hearing this. I'd like to kind of know, before we get into the whole Boule topic and everything, how did you acquire so much knowledge about all of this? because I think this is kind of important, because some people could be listening to this and thinking like, wait a minute, what is really going on here?
Right. Yeah,
and I think it would be good. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Ben. I was just going to say, for some background, like Ben and I have been researching this stuff for a long time. And when we heard you come onto the scene and start talking about stuff, we were like, we can stop now. Like, I mean, like how much you know and how you've put everything together blew our minds. I mean, we're in the rabbit hole all the time, and it's incredible. So yeah, please answer that for us. Where did you get all of this?
Well, I've been in this type of study for the past 40 years, 25 of which as being a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. I am a historian, a researcher, a teacher, and it's taken decades to come up with this type of knowledge. I have traveled all over the world to approximately 101 nations for the past 37 years. I've even been to the Vatican. I've been to the Vatican Library. I've been to London, England, to Oxford University, and all of these major universities and great, powerful nations all over the earth, just researching, because 95% of what I'm teaching you guys is not taught on this level here in America. You got some people who are teaching at a certain level, but they're not teaching at this higher dimensionality as I'm talking about the greatest global cover-up in human history. So I've got over 5,000 books in my library, so many that I got to keep in storage because I just don't have the room in my my apartment here in Manhattan. And so it's taken over 40 years of meticulous research, detailed research of names, dates, times, entities, continents, dispensations, time periods, chronologies, all of that being tied into the Boule Secret Society, Skulls and Bones, right? We're talking about the many other secret societies like the Knights Templar. So to answer your question, it has taken over 40 years. And the average person in this country, they really don't want to do this because a lot of people are lazy, broke, busted, and almost disgusted. But
they would rather they would just rather somebody else tell them, and that way they don't have to worry about it.
Well, they rather keep up with the Kardashians than to do what I'm doing. I am a divine contract killer. I'm an assassin. I'm anointed by God to decapitate the system of Lucifer, just like David did before we get back to Boule. And I'm glad that you guys are asking me these questions, very critical. As David had decapitated Goliath, the term David, just as a side note, comes from the Hasidical Hebrew word Dawson,
Beloved.
Dawson. Now, the term Dawson spelled backwards reveals the word Mossad. Let me say it again. I don't think you guys caught that. So the term David comes from the Hasidic Hebrew word Dawson. Now, why do I say Hasidical Hebrew? Because there's not one language or dialect of Hebrew. You got one language of Hebrew, but 300 dialects of the one Hebrew linguistical language. So Dawson, spelled backwards, is Mossad, which means one who decapitates. That's what I am. I am a contract assassin. My job is to not make friends. Thank God I have a few friends, but my job is to decapitate darkness by revealing truths which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't call myself African because that's the name of a Roman general, Scipio Africanus, who defeated Hannibal in 202 BC. And as a side note, the Africanus family in Rome were practitioners of spirit cooking thousands of years, before there was a Marina Abramovich, that which out of Hollywood. I'll talk about her in the next half hour. So then the Africanus family is one of the main spirit cooking families in Roman Empire history, who also practiced child pedophilia and child sacrifice. But this is the name that Black people are calling themselves from, African American, African Canadian, African British. Stop. Again, that comes from the lack of knowledge. Now, getting back to the Boule logo. Now, the present day logo is a half man, half woman sexual disorientation agenda of the Boule, with its right paw not on a skull as the original Boule logo, but its right paw on what we call an urn, capital URN, which is a vessel that they keep the ashes of dead people. That represents a term, neuroplasticity. Oh, what does that have to do with Black America and the Boule Secret Society? The scientific term, gentlemen, neuroplasticity simply means that the human brain grows into the shape of the thought that the individual is thinking at that moment. So when we're talking about the terms contagion and fear concerning the thinking of African Americans. Now, again, you're hitting nerves with me, gentlemen. You guys are great hosts as we're unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history. Make sure you guys are taking notes. So then, I also said this on Sam's show before we get back to the Boule Secret Society, that the origin of the baggy jean that many young Black people are wearing and many other ethnicities comes from two homosexual men in a prison in Joliet, Illinois in the early to mid-1970s. They created this baggy jean to distinguish who was their homosexual lover. And so the term sagging, look at the term sagging, capital S-A-G-G-I-N. Well, let's take that word and spell it backwards, then you get the term capital N-I-G-G-A-S. It's a psyop. Or add the letter G for sagging, spell it backwards, then you get G, then N-I-G-G-A-S. It is a mental psyop, both of that skull in the urn that's on the logo or the insignia of the Boule Secret Society. Also, if you write down the terms skull, then urn, and connect those two words together, and look up that term skull urn on Google Images, you get jewelry, vases, necklaces, which the Luciferian witches and warlocks in this country and around the world keep the ashes of their dead loved ones. Do you know, and I don't mean to get away from the Boule Secret Society, but you guys are hitting nerves with me as we are unpacking the greatest global conspiracy, the greatest global cover in human history. So that skull, that urn represents the thinking of Black people. There's a term in Black America called buck breaking, capital B-U-C-K. Well, they came out of slavery through a slave owner from the West Indies by the name of Willie Lynch. And his last name is named after the city and state today, Lynchburg, Virginia. This is where we get the terminology lynch.
I was just going to ask you that. Is that where the term lynch comes from?
That's
oh
where
my
the
gosh.
Term, absolutely. That's where the term lynch comes from. So Willie Lynch was teaching the slave owners of the South, and more specifically in the state of Virginia, how to control their slaves. Because most of the slaves who could not be controlled were sent to the Caribbean islands. We're talking about Cuba. We're talking about St. Martinique, the Bahamas, and Jamaica. The slave master would strip the man or the woman naked, put them chest first on the ground, and would molest them in front of the husbands or their wives to destroy the psychological strength of the slave. Well, LeBron James has been buck broken psychologically. Kobe Bryant was buck broken psychologically. The former NBA player Dwayne Wade, if you go online and just type in Dwayne Wade has a misunderstanding of LGBTQ communities. In other words, on the businessjournal.com, it shows Dwayne Wade's hair in braids in the form of miniature pyramids. which are one of the symbols, Brother Rob and Ben, that's been declassified by the FBI as one of the symbols that the underground pedophilia network uses. Why will Dwayne Wade have his hair in the shape of one of those pedophilia organization symbols? And it shows his son, a young boy by the name of Zion, who has now become Zaya. Why? See, Dwayne Wade has been broken. And this is the psyop of a people who don't love who they are, as we're beginning to talk about the Boule Seeker Society.
So we'll probably see him rise pretty fast then, right?
You're going to see him rise in such a way. Again, Brother Rob, Brother Ben, you guys hit this right on but you're going to see him rise. And that's what's happening now, including LeBron James. These black men are slaves on the plantation, okay? And as a side note, they're one of the major pharmaceutical companies that Kobe Bryant was suing was a company out of Basel, Switzerland by the name of the Novartis AG Group. The Novartis Group is the one drug company that does drug testing for the National Basketball Association. Kobe was about to expose this, and then they took him out. I'll come to that later on. So then let's continue on now from the Boule Seeker Society with that logo, half man, half woman, half lion, with this original logo going back to Aristotle, left paw on a skull, the original logo, right paw on an urn, skull, urn. Type it up on Google Images and it will reveal symbols of divination and witchcraft. And as a side note, I tell women all the time, especially black women, stop calling yourself diva, because the term diva is not only the name of a goddess in Greek and Persian mythology, the goddess of seduction, but the term diva is also the first four letters of the term divination. Acts 16:16. What is divination? Witchcraft. What is witchcraft? Parapsychology. As we're talking about the greatest global cover-up in human history. Oh man, I'm flowing here today. And now Kobe Bryant, in 2013, meets a man by the name of Jeffrey Morgan Steibel. Now, Jeffrey Steibel has a ghost of a past. If you type in the net worth of Jeff Steibel, it doesn't come up. It comes up with Kobe Bryant's net worth, and the question is why? Well, Jeff Steibel calls himself a brain scientist. He doesn't have an earned PhD. He only has an honorary PhD degree from Pepperdine University. That Pepperdine University, including Stanford universities, are extensions of Black Ops CIA money through the Central Intelligence Agency through both Stanford and Pepperdine. So then Jeff Steibel is introduced to Kobe in the year of 2013. Now, at the time that of their meeting, Jeff Steibel is a member, still is, of a foundation called the Lifeboat Foundation. Now, the Lifeboat Foundation teaches transhumanism, transmutation, and they also teach biotechnology and nanotechnology, and they also teach the the psychosis of what we call singularity, okay? And so, which is another form of divination, all of that. And so they also proponents of depopulation. So Jeff Steibel sits on this Lifeboat Foundation, which also was founded by a man by the name of Eric Klein. Now, Eric Klein is a part of Kappa Beta Phi, the Wall Street faction of the deep state. So then Eric Klein made his millions in the 1990s. And then in the early part of the 2000s, moves to Las Vegas, Nevada, and meets a former Mossad agent by the name of Moshe Greenspan, no relation to Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Fed. So the Moshe Greenspan creates a company called Phase 6 LLC, SIX LLC. They specialize in global simulation and facial recognition software for the Central Intelligence Agency, for the NSA, and also for the Office of National Intelligence. Also, Moshe Greenspan also created a sublet company, which is a subsidiary of Phase 6, and that company is called Church X. They sell facial recognition software to churches. Wait a minute now, I'm confused. Wait a minute, you're selling facial recognition software to churches so that pastors can know who is coming into their congregations, and so that pastors can keep a scientific spiritual eye, okay, through AI on their membership. That's divination, okay, as we're unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history. So Eric Klein creates Lifeboat Foundation. Jeff Steibel knew Jeffrey Epstein. Why? Because Jeffrey Epstein sat on the board of Lifeboat Foundation. Jeff Bezos of Amazon sits on the board of Lifeboat Foundation. And mind you, the logo of Amazon is shaped like a human organ of a man. I won't go down that road. Bill Gates sits on the board of Lifeboat Foundation, okay? George Soros sits on the board of Lifeboat Foundation. Bill and Hillary Clinton, through the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative, also they are members of the advisory board of the Lifeboat Foundation. So Kobe doesn't know the connections that his business partner Jeff Steibel is connected to. Slow me down if you guys can't keep up. This is some powerful information here as we're unpacking. We go from Boulay, now to Kobe Bryant, now to Jeffrey Morgan Steibel. Now, Jeff Steibel is connected to two educators, two men by the name of Dr. Richard Dawkins, okay, and Dr. Daniel Dennett, who are atheists. These are the mentors of the business associate of Kobe Bryant, Jeffrey Morgan Steibel, okay? So then 2016, they create what they call the Bryant Steibel Venture Capital Fund out of Malibu, California, which according to the Brian Steibel website gives its address in Malibu, but when you go to Google Earth, it doesn't show the sign of the Brian Steibel Venture Capital Fund. It shows the term Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corporation, which Jeff Steibel is the CEO. And later on, I'm going to reveal to you guys that through the Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corporation, which is a credit rating agency, is connected to the Wuhan Institute in Wuhan, China. So I'm going to connect for you guys Boulay, Kobe Bryant, Jeff Steibel, COVID-19, China, in the Vatican. So then Jeff Steibel is connected to Jeffrey Epstein. As we move on here, so then Jeff Steibel is the CEO, man, I'm excited now, of a foundation called the Brain Gate. Now, the Brain Gate, gentlemen, is connected to the National Institutes of Health Brain Initiative. That was created through the Central Intelligence Agency and through the Barack Obama administration in 2013. So also Jeff Steibel is connected to Dr. Tony Little Midget Fauci of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Now, a lot of people don't like me using the word midget. Now, I'm not talking about little people. I'm talking about Tony Fauci, who has given millions of dollars to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And to me, Dr. Little Midget Fauci belongs in prison because what he did was treason. Go ahead, Brother Brendan.
Well, Brother Ralphie, yeah.
I just wanted to say that terminology is welcome on Edge of Wonder when referring to Luciferian pieces of garbage. So thank you, Larry. Go ahead.
I agree. Brother Larry, on top of what you're saying about Fauci, then you have Obama that under Obama's administration, it was something like $3.4 million that was given to the Wuhan Institute. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Why?
3.7 million. Absolutely. Why? Because Barack Obama is complicit in this conspiracy. Okay. Now they want to blame the president. That's hogwash. So my question is, what did Kobe Bryant know that got him assassinated on the morning of the 26th of January 2020, as we are teaching your audience the greatest global cover-up in human history? So Jeffrey Morgan Steibel is the CEO of the Brain Gate, which he created in 2013, connected to the Brain Initiative, which specializes in MK Ultra mind control programs. And now MK Ultra was actually started not through the CIA in 1953 via Sidney Gottlieb. It was started by the Nazis, okay? Then after World War II, through Operation Paperclip, the Nazis helped create the Central Intelligence Agency, just like they helped to create NASA and their Luciferian project called Project Lucifer. Another topic for another day. So then, getting back to Jeff Steibel, who is the business partner of this Black Boule Secret Society member, Kobe Bean Bryant. So Jeff Steibel is presently under indictment by the states of California and Washington for Ponzi schemes. Wait a minute now. Who introduced Kobe Bryant to this man? And why didn't Kobe Bryant do his due diligence in checking out the background of this man by the name of Jeffrey Morgan Steibel? Now, as a side note, Kobe Bryant was killed on the 26th of January 2020, where? In Calabasas, California. Calabasas, California is the 33rd congressional district in the state of California. There's your 33 when it comes to the Masonic order. Oh man, so I'm flowing here. So then, Jeff Steibel, a member of Lightbow Foundation, but him and along with another man by the name of Mark Brockman, including Dr. Richard Dawkins, including Dr. Daniel Dennett, and Jeff Steibel and Epstein, all belong to the Mind, Brain, and Behavior Advisory Committee at Harvard University. That's interesting. And also another scholar that belongs to this organization, Mind, Brain, and Behavior Advisory Committee, a woman by the name of Christine Blasey Ford. Oh, who is she? Brett Kavanaugh. You remember that case. So as we're beginning to unpack the greatest global cover-up in human history. So BrainGate is connected to the Brain Initiative, which is connected to DARPA, the Defense Research Projects Agency, through the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, and IARPA, the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Agency, Activity Agency, that through the BrainGate in the Brain Initiative, Jeff Steibel, Kobe Bryant's financial partner, is also connected to IARPA, the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity Agency, through the CIA, the NSA, and through the Defense Intelligence Agency. Oh, these are connections and ley lines and dots that are blowing away the minds of your listeners as we are unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history. Also Project Pegasus, which specializes in time travel. Well, Kobe Bryant's business partner, Jeff Steibel, is a member of the Brain Initiative that's connected to time travel or Project Pegasus. See, Kobe Bryant got himself in way over his head with some very powerful people that I believe that took him out on that Sunday morning of January 26, 2020. Predictive programming. Jeff Steibel was a scholar when it came to predictive programming. Also, some of these foundations and initiatives and secret societies that Kobe Bryant was a member of, the Santa Fe Institute, the Theoretical Biology Initiative, the Institute for Advanced Studies, and Kobe Bryant, his friend, Jeff Steibel, Jeff Epstein, okay, Brockman, Dr. Daniel Dennett, okay, Stephen Pinsky out of Harvard, all of these men who are multimillionaires and billionaires were a part of the EDGE Foundation, which Jeffrey Epstein gave hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, the logo of the EDGE Foundation is the same logo of Microsoft Edge, of the all-seeing eye. Nothing is by accident. Oh, you guys are just, your minds are being blown. And stop me anytime as we're unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history.
It's like we've done all this research and we've really but you're just putting it together so clearly and showing all these connections. And as you're talking, I'm just kind of looking up some of this stuff and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy how it's all connected. Rob, did you want to say anything on this point?
Not really. I mean, I've listened to, I think, a total of like 16 hours of Larry talking before, and it's like, it's just, there's so many mind-blowing things. Like, I feel the same way as you.
Oh my God. And like everything you're bringing up, there's so many questions that I could branch off of, but I just want you to keep going, so I don't want to interrupt you, you know, but I'm just like, we're following along, because I mean, everything you're talking about is stuff that we've hit on in the past, and it's just amazing to see how super clear you can just connect the dots to all of this stuff. And Project Pegasus, you know, oh my God, yeah, this is crazy. This is like, I'm just taking notes thinking this is a great topic to just dive into completely on its own.
And the fact that Kobe Bryant seems to be at the center, or his death at least, is at the center of all of these topics is actually mind-blowing. Like, being able to use him as the example, because you could blow it off and just be like, oh, it's just a basketball player that passed away. It was an accident. And no, it clearly wasn't, right?
Yeah.
No, and you know what, Brother Ben and Brother Rob, you guys are 100% right. The death of Kobe Bryant is interconnected into the life of Jeffrey Steibel, Jeffrey Epstein, Les Wexner, in connection to the Chinese, in connection to even Saudi Arabia, but I'm going to bring them up in a few minutes. And all of these, what I call secret societies, foundations, initiatives, are all the intricate part of the schematical life of Kobe Bean Bryant, Now, as a side note, Kobe Bryant was also a member of what they call the ancient mystical order of the Rosicrucians. And then, Rob, you made mention of that term earlier. Kobe Bryant was a proponent of the secret society of the order of the Hibernians. Now, wait a minute now, I'm confused. So Kobe Bryant's moniker is the Black Mamba, which goes back thousands of years into Persian military history, where all the assassins, before they went into battle, in order for them to replicate the body and the mind of a mamba, they would drink the blood of the Black Mamba that they open up, and then thereby that gave them energy. That's part of spirit cooking. Kobe Bryant believed in that psyop because Kobe Bryant was a master of these orders, okay? Not just of the Boule Secret Society, the Phi Lima Secret Society, the Theosophical Secret Society of Inversion, but also he named himself, after his rape case, Black Mamba. Why did he do that? Kobe didn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And if you don't have a relationship with Christ, there's a vacuum where automatically demons come in. Now, as a side note, not to get away from Jeff Steibel, Epstein, and Kobe, as we're unpacking the greatest global cover-up in human history, I'm getting some emails as we speak, because I got people praying for me, a team, on every broadcast that I go to. One of our staff members, Lisa, she wanted me to share with you guys this term LSD. Now, LSD goes back during the times of the Nazis, all right, now through Operation Paperclip, now in 1953 through Sidney Gottlieb, he created the medical scientific psyop of LSD. What is the first letter of Lucifer? L. What is the first letter of Satan? S. What is the first letter of devil? D. There's your LSD. Now let's get back to Kobe.
I never knew that, ever. Like, yeah. Oh my God, that was crazy.
It's all interconnected. I love teaching. I'm telling you, there is such a passion over me every time I go on a radio show or a podcast, because I absolutely love awakening the minds of the people, which is more than all the gold in Fort Knox. So then all of these foundations that Kobe Bryant and Jeffrey Steibel, in the late Jeffrey Epstein, and Les Wexner, and one of the connections also through Jeff Steibel to Epstein is a woman by the name of Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? Her father was the late Robert Maxwell, who was an asset of both Mossad in the British MI6. So Ghislaine Maxwell created a foundation which Kobe Bryant supported, called the Telmar Foundation, which they concentrated on many oceanic sea waters and fishes and to make sure that the oceans were clean. That's garbage. The Telmar Foundation was a front for pedophilia, which Kobe did not know, was a front for child trafficking through what we call admiralty law or maritime law. Now, allow me to explain that. If a parent, right, a man and a woman, they go on a cruise, let's say to Cyprus, and they're Americans, and that wife has a child on near the waters near Cyprus. That child now has a dual citizenship. They are both a U.S. citizen and a citizen of Cyprus. That's called admiralty law or maritime law. So through the Telmar Project Foundation, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the whore for Jeffrey Epstein, I got to tell it like it is, she's on the run now. She had recruited women, teenage kids, and even female little girls as young as 8, 9, 10 years old that would go not just on the Lolita Express, the jet plane of the former Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, as a side note, also owned a Sikorsky 76B helicopter, all just like Kobe did. Okay, so getting back to Ghislaine Maxwell, through admiralty law or maritime law, they would take little girls and little boys all over the world, even on ships, in planes. And so they would use the maritime laws in order to initiate child marriages. These are sick people. These are psychopaths and sociopaths, as they are a part of the global Luciferian Illuminati system, okay? So again, stop me anytime if you guys have any questions. So as we continue on here, talking about the greatest global cover-up in human history. Now, why did Kobe Bryant get assassinated? Kobe Bryant was in the process of suing 3 major pharmaceutical companies in this country. the NSAID Therapeutic Corporation, which owns the Acorn Incorporation, which owns high-tech pharmaceuticals out of Lacrosse, Georgia. Now, the former owner of these three pharmaceutical companies was a man by the name of John Kapoor, who is now in prison for 66 months because he was lacing his weight loss pills with opioid substances. Now there's a new chairman of high-tech pharmaceuticals. His name is Jared Wheat. Well, he was lacing his weight loss pills under the label of Black Mamba. That's Kobe Bryant's registered nickname. Kobe Bryant was going to expose three of some of the most powerful pharmaceutical companies in this country. Okay, the NSAID Therapeutic Corporation, the Acorn, and High Tech. Guess who owns those three companies? Okay, besides John Kapoor and Jared Wheat, the Novartis AG Group out of Basel, Switzerland. So then, I believe Kobe Bryant was taken out. He was scheduled to go to court that following Wednesday, the 29th, had he lived. So these are some of the most powerful pharmaceutical companies in this world. Now, as a side note, quickly, gentlemen, again, Jeffrey Morgan Steibel is introduced to Kobe Bryant. Guess who else was introduced to Kobe Bryant in 2016? A Chinese woman by the name of Cindy Wenjun Mi. Well, this Miss Wenjun Mi co-created an online children's educational initiative called VipKid, capital VIPKID, which is controlled by CCP, the Chinese Communist Party out of Beijing. Now, I'm not against the 1.4 billion Chinese. Those are my brothers and sisters, okay? I am against that evil regime in Beijing. Now, as a side note, every president and premier in the history of the Chinese presidency from 1949, Mao Zedong, to now in 2020 with President Xi Jinping are all related through Illuminati blood through the Li dynasty, which is the 9th Illuminati family on the Knights of the Round Table. You see these connections here.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's something that we've been talking about a lot, about the CCP, and we make a very clear distinction. It's like we're actually trying to help the people of China because they're the ones being suppressed and controlled more than any other country right now because it's just so horrible. And we talk a lot about the horrible persecutions, the live organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners and underground Christians, because in China, most of the teachings of Jesus are left out of the Bible. So there's actually underground Christian churches that smuggle in the real Bible, and a lot of them are being arrested. When the CCP finds out where the churches are, they're destroying those churches. And then again, you know how you have the peaceful meditation group of Falun Gong that is just being hammered so hard, and it's just horrible what is going on.
Well, and not only that, but like the way we try to explain it to people is, the CCP is it's like a possessing entity. It actually has nothing to do with the Chinese people itself. No. And there's a lot of, these racism accusations being thrown about for talking about the coronavirus and talking about the China or the Chinese. And honestly, it should be clearly stated that it is, we call it actually, Ben and I actually call it the CCP virus because this virus actually revolves around the CCP. All roads seem to lead back there right now, and it's actually kind of mind-blowing. And people need to understand that this is a possessing entity that has taken control of these people. It's sort of like the synagogue of Satan and the Jews, actually. They're not real Jews. They're Satanists. Call them Satanists. They're not Jewish.
I'm going to say something to you, and I thank God for you, Brother Ben and Brother Rob, because I always say this to every show that I go on. You guys are also teaching me as well.
And it doesn't end here. If you want more mind-blowing content from Larry Gaiters himself, go to edgeofwonder.tv. Learn about ancient texts and public figures, certain companies and dark relationships. Larry will expose it all for you now on edgeofwonder.tv.